Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another post-match show following West Ham's unfortunate defeat by the hands of Liverpool by a score of 1-0. As always, I'm your host, Chris, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Irish Tommy. Mate, how you feeling after that?
Just the way I always feel after these games. Just very disappointed that Moyes approaches him the way he does. He never learns. I don't know why. His record in these games against the Sky Sports 6 is actually just woeful.
Yeah.
Absolutely woeful. And this is why. He just shows them far too much respect. He really does. We could have got something out of that game.
We
We
should have,
really
too.
could
I mean, I honestly think that the theme
have.
from this match is missed opportunities, missed chances. Whether it be Bowen's penalty, which, I mean, we got to talk about that at some point. I mean, that was Suchek's goal, Skamaka sending him over the bar constantly. I mean, there were opportunities for us there. I mean, that was a very weak Liverpool side, and we gave them too much respect, and we just couldn't finish.
Yeah, but we were set up to not trouble them. We were set up to defend. It was ridiculous. Putting Fornells in that game was a joke. Fornells shouldn't be playing the game. Look, when you start with two attacking players on the pitch, you know why you're there. You're there to defend and hold out and try and keep it tight. And that's the way Moyes approaches this game. And despite the fact it always ends the same way, he keeps doing it.
Yeah.
You know the old quote, Chris, right? But the definition of madness, the definition of insanity, yeah, is to keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yeah. No, you're dead on. I mean, I do think it would have been a little bit of a different situation had we had Paqueta in there. Like, he was supposed to be, obviously, Paqueta, a bit of a knock with a collarbone injury, out potentially 2 weeks. So hopefully that's not too serious. I definitely think that if Paqueta was in that game, I mean, that goes differently.
Maybe it's hard to speculate, but
I mean, in the first half especially, I mean, we were crying out for some creative play. So I think if Paqueta was in there, I mean, it would have definitely gone a little bit better. In the second half, especially once Benrahma came on, we had that creative aspect.
Yeah, but look, I mean, just to talk about the first half, I mean, we were really poor.
Yeah.
Created nothing, no shots at goal, no shots on target. Exactly what I was expecting and what I predicted. Moyes is just far too negative in these games. We had 2 attacking players out of the 10 on outfield players. 2 attacking players, Skamaka and Bowen, and that's it. Everyone else was either a defender or a midfielder.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous. And we were lucky, really, that we were only 1-0 down at halftime.
I do believe
Nunes genuinely
chances in the first half alone.
What?
I think they had something like a dozen chances in the first half alone.
Yeah, Nunes on a perfect night for him could have had a hat trick at halftime.
Yeah.
This is despite us setting up like really defensively.
Yeah.
But we were handed a lifeline by Gomez. Joe Gomez put in a really silly challenge, an unnecessary challenge on Bowen, and all of a sudden we've got an opportunity somehow to go in 1-1 at the break, and then Bowen just hits a really poor penalty.
Can I ask you something? What is it with now that, or ever since Mark Noble became more of a bench player, more of a support role? Why is it that West Ham have been so unable to find a reliable penalty taker? It was supposed to be Declan, then it was supposed to be Antonio, then it was supposed to be Bowen. Other people are now clamoring for Skamaka. I've even seen people saying Craig fucking Dawson should just be on him at this point. Like, it blows my mind that we cannot find someone that is reliable when it comes to the penalty spot.
We have 2 excellent proven penalty takers who were on that pitch tonight. the best of them all is Cresswell. Cresswell is superb at dead balls, whether it's corners, free kicks, or penalties. I've been saying for a while since Noble kind of became a bit part player last season that Cresswell should be taking them. And I stand by that. Cresswell should be taking our penalties.
Yeah,
You put them away. Like, it doesn't have to be a fucking attacking player taking them.
No.
It's like put Cresswell on them. Problem solved, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, I mean you're exactly right. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, like Neil said, I don't know if again we need to figure this out at some point. I don't know if our broadcasters or pundits are the exact same or not. But literally, as Bowen was stepping up to take the penalty, our announcer was like, "Oh, he's gonna go." My guess is goalie's right because that's literally the only place he goes. If the pundit knows that, Allison knows that.
Yeah.
The first penalty Allison has saved in the Premier League in 2 years, or over 2 years. Excuse me. Our announcer mentioned that it was this last one was saved September 2020. So
yeah,
why is it that we can only use a player that only wants to go one side and one side only and doesn't even hit it that well?
Well, look, that's obviously something that's decided on the training ground. Maybe Moyes will take another look at it now. I don't know. But yeah, Neil agrees. I think a lot of fans would say the same thing. I think a lot of fans actually would say, look, Cresswell needs to be taking these penalties.
Yeah,
He's
hell,
the best.
I'm even fine with Craig Dawson at this point. I mean, it just brings someone to do it.
I'm
joking.
Yeah, I don't know if Craig Dawson will be around second half of the season. We'll have to wait and see. But
Yeah.
and plus he's injured. But yeah, I think Cresswell kind of basically plays every Premier League game for Moyes, so at least we know he'll be on the pitch, and he doesn't get injuries really. So I would put Cresswell is the best striker of a dead ball that we've got at the club.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So put him on the penalties. End of story. But anyway, look, it would have been a godsend, if we'd have got in 1-1. We wouldn't have deserved it. But we'd have bloody taken it. And again, with Moyes, I called it in a tweet earlier today. I put out, I knew what was going to happen. Moyes is going to wait until like an hour or more before he actually gets some attacking players on the pitch when we're behind and losing the game.
I was even saying, like, I was watching the match by myself, but I was saying, I'm like, I'd get on Antonio in the 60th minute. I'd get on Benrahma in the 60th minute. I mean, if you're not going to put him on at halftime, put him on 15 minutes in, so that way they have time to impact the actual game.
Yeah. Our best period of the game was when we got Benrahma on.
Yeah.
That was our best period. We got Benrahma on, and all of a sudden, now Trent Alexander-Arnold's got something to think about.
Yeah.
Because, Fornells isn't a threat. He's not going to worry about Fornells.
No, God, no.
So, yeah, Fornells is there's a new term now. It's defensive winger, and that's what Fornells is.
You better copy or you better trademark that before Sky Sports gets it.
Yeah, he's a defensive winger. That's what he is. That's why he's on there. And as soon as Benrahma come on, all of a sudden Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's not great defensively, has got problems.
No, you're exactly right.
He's got Benrahma running at him and troubling him.
There's a reason in the second half that we controlled the most possession. I believe in the 75th minute we were out possessing Liverpool at home 53-47%, something like that. So
yeah, and it all changed once Moyes actually got an attacking player on the pitch. Now we've got 3 of them.
Holy hell, we actually got a chance to see both Antonio and Scamacca on. That was the apocalyptic bells are ringing, I think. Moyes having 2 strikers on the pitch at the same time.
Yeah, but as usual with Moyes, he only decides that maybe we'd like to score a goal or two when we're already losing.
When we're losing with 5 minutes left.
Yeah, and it's not good enough. I'm sorry. Once again, I mean, I heard something a little while ago that Moyes' record against the Big Six, and it's almost unbelievably woeful.
Oh, it's bad. If
I
someone
think it was like
if someone in the comments or the chat could,
it was something like was it I can't remember, out of a possible 57 points or something. It was like really horrible. It was like single digits or something,
the
but
the
like
only
um,
the only top six win I can remember under Moyes right now, off the top of my head, is the West Ham Chelsea, or is the one against Chelsea during lockdown, where Yarmolenko scored the winner. That's the only one I can remember.
yeah, I'm trying to think of wins, particularly particularly
I mean,
against like
obviously the 3-3 draw with Liverpool with Tottenham 2 years ago. We just had the inverse.
Tottenham.
That,
Yeah.
that was that. That's the only. Those are really the only two that I can really recall off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean his overall record, like in the Premier League against his teams, is dreadful.
It's
And
so bad.
and still he doesn't change.
No,
It's actually unbelievable
yeah,
that he's still set up the same way tonight, even though it never works, and
yeah,
he always loses the games. It's just incredibly frustrating. It didn't have to be that way. He and should have started Benrahma.
yeah. I wholeheartedly agree.
Absolutely could and should have started Benrahma.
Yeah,
100%. Like,
If Paqueta's not good to go, why are you not starting Benrahma?
yeah, I mean it's a to most of us it's a no-brainer. To most of us, it's just a no-brainer that
Yeah,
you
it's
you,
most of us,
you
but not
start
a user.
Benrahma in this game, especially when you can put him directly up against Trent Alexander-Arnold.
He would have
It's a
caused
fucking
problems.
no-brainer. Trent Alexander-Arnold cannot defend.
No, he would have caused massive problems for 90 minutes. I mean, that back line looked so weak, so shaky, even without Benrahma. Um,
Yeah,
if you
I would
if
have
you could
been
have
like
created Benrahma,
I would even have been fine with him playing Antonio from the start out on that side.
yeah, me too. That would have,
He'd have caused all sorts of problems for Alexander-Arnold
yeah.
with his direct running, his power.
Oh,
But Moyes just
he
doesn't
would.
think
I
that
mean, he
way.
would have been a bull in a china shop with that back line.
Yeah,
If you
I
get
mean,
him,
but
in right up.
this is what frustrates me the most about Moyes. It just drives me crazy. That game, like Liverpool, were not. That's the frustrating thing. Like, Liverpool weren't great tonight.
No, they were not good. I mean, it's just because we invited too much pressure that they had so
Yeah,
many chances, so
because
many.
we spent so much of the game just allowing them onto us and just not challenging them at the other end. They were just really comfortable defensively.
And the other thing is too, for me, at times it seemed like when we were actually attacking, when we were out in and around their box, I mean, it almost looked like we were afraid to shoot. Like, I mean, numerous times I understand with Flynn Downs, that's a little bit of different, which we need to talk about him in a second. What a player
Yeah,
we have with him potentially.
yeah.
But I mean, like I said, I understand with him, but some of these players, they just look afraid to shoot. They just didn't want to. I didn't know. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, there was a bit of hesitancy and a bit of over anxiousness, and I felt that from Skamaka as well, actually, in
Skama,
this game. Yeah, he
to
was
be
a
fair,
little.
you're
I
saying that.
think because it was such a big game,
Yeah,
he built it up. I think maybe he built it up too much in his own head.
yeah,
You
and
know,
and,
the,
and, that, and that's the other thing though too is I saw tweets from people on the ground there that said that in the warm up, Skamaka couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, and once I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's worrying. And that was
yeah,
that was during that warm ups.
I think he built it up too much in his own head, to be honest.
And
You
I
know,
think you're
because
dead on there. I think you're dead
it
on
was
there,
his first. It was his first kind of big game, really.
especially
Away to
away from home.
Liverpool.
Yeah,
Yeah, away to Liverpool, and I think he looked over anxious. There was a point in the first half where Ellison made a really horrible kick out and gave it straight to Rice. Ball ended up with Skamaka just on the edge of the box, and he tried to like play a square ball to
yeah,
Bowen, and he completely mishit it, overhit it. It was too hard, didn't go to Bowen, and I thought, oh fucking hell, Skamaka, calm down,
yeah,
relax.
yeah. He was
That's a
just he was
simple.
all over the park.
Whereas I think like if that ball came to Skamaka last week.
He's
In
buried.
the game last week, like he just takes a quick touch and smacks it,
Yeah,
and goes for goal. And whereas he just looked over anxious tonight, not one of his better performances.
no,
Albeit I do feel bad for him in the sense that I mean the supply was virtually zero.
yeah. That you're exactly right with that too.
He had so little to work with. It was. And the only other one I remember where he actually got a decent ball was late on when Antonio slipped it through to him on the right hand
Yeah,
side
and then he
of
just
the box,
blasted it.
and his first touch just let him down. And then he just kind of took a swipe at it when he was off balance and wasn't kind of set for the shot, and it was just wild shot. Again, just another kind of piece of evidence of his over anxiousness on the night. But he'll be fine long term. He'll be okay. He just didn't have a good night tonight. But he'll get used to playing in these games, I think, and he'll relax a bit. Um, yeah, so I'm not worried about Skamaka, but
Yeah, no, he needed a game like that. He needed to experience. I mean, that he's fully versed in the Premier League now. Big away matches. He knows what to expect a little bit more now. So
yeah,
moving
but
forward,
yeah, but I'll tell you what, the one plus I loved from tonight was Flynn Downs.
yes, we have to talk about him.
Yeah, when I
I will
saw the
say
team
though,
sheet and I saw the three in midfield with Downs in there, I was like, oh, fantastic. I'm delighted now he's going to make his debut tonight. And fucking hell, didn't he do well, Chris?
oh, he was incredible. But the one thing that confused, again, going back to Moyes, confusing the shit out of everybody. Flynn Downs doesn't have, or is getting digs at by Moyes, saying that he doesn't have every aspect of his game. So he's not good enough to start against Southampton, but he's good enough to start against Liverpool on the road.
Yeah.
It makes
Listen,
no sense.
Moyes,
But hey, I mean, if this is the match, being able for Moyes now to see both Flynn Downs and Suchek side by side, and being able to see, holy hell, Flynn Downs is miles better than Sochek. If I'm seeing Sochek as a first name on the team sheet now, I'm Jesus. I don't know
yeah,
what
well,
to do. I mean, we potentially have a great player on our hands here, and we just keep throwing out dead wood in Sochek.
yeah, and he took Downs off and left fucking Soucek on the pitch when he brought on Antonio. It's like,
And then Sochek misses that sitter right in front of goal. Yes, it took a deflection off Milner, but I mean, he should have buried that anyway. I mean, that was
yeah,
all.
yeah, he's lost his mojo, Soucek, but he'll still play. He'll play Monday night against Bournemouth, no doubt.
Oh, 100%.
Um, whereas I think now I've seen enough, more than enough, from Soucek these last few months and from Downs this season, that Downs absolutely should be alongside Declan Rice in midfield.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind now.
Downs has now played what has started 3 matches, two in
Four.
conference, four. Okay,
Yeah, he
I
did play in the playoff round for the Conference League playoff match.
oh, you're right. You're right. You're right.
He got man of the match in that game. Then he got man of the match in his second game. I think that was, if I'm not mistaken, that was away to Silkeborg.
Yeah,
And he put in a really top class performance at home to Anderlecht.
and now
Um,
and now had Declan Rice not had the performance that he did, Flynn Downs probably could have had a shot for man of the match against Liverpool and Anfield. I don't know
yeah,
what this kid has to do to get a regular starting position alongside Declan Rice. I think that is a lethal midfield going forward. And then, I mean, you
yeah.
put in Keta in front of them, you get Skamaka, and then the defensive line behind them. I mean, that's a very,
And Flynn Downs doesn't give the ball away.
it's incredible. Kids, how old? If someone can remind me, if you don't know, Tommy, how old is Flynn Downs?
Oh, I don't know, his early 20s. He's only slightly younger than Rice. I think he's probably 24 as well. But you have to remember, I mean, he hasn't plied his trade ever before in the Premier League.
Yeah, he's
You know,
23, turns 24
23.
in January.
Right, okay, he's 23. Yeah, so another young player, first season in the Premier League, and boy, has he stepped up.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those kind of players. It's like, if he's this good, how has he slipped through the cracks like he did? I mean, I'm not complaining because we got him on a
Well, I suppose, some players, not all players' trajectory is the same. Some
true.
players blossom a little bit later. Um, But obviously he's highly motivated too. He's a massive West Ham fan. This is his dream move. He wants this to work out, and he's putting in a huge effort. He's playing his ass off, and his passing is superb.
Oh, it's incredible. He's such a player. What a potential player we have on our hands if he
Yeah,
can continue like this. And I mean, in all reality, he needs a run of games. If he gets a run of games, he could be the second one of the first names on the team sheet right
Yeah,
back.
and I actually think, David Moyes actually should say to Soucek, look, I'm going to give you a little bit of a rest now
Yeah,
for the ball. We're at home to
yeah,
Bournemouth on Monday, right? Monday
yeah,
night, we're at home to Bournemouth. That's the perfect opportunity now
yeah,
to sit Soucek and say, look, have a rest for this game. We're putting Flynn in and we're going to play him alongside Rice.
yeah.
And
At bare
let's see
minimum,
these two together at home in a Premier League game against probably the worst team in the league, more or less.
yeah,
Um,
you're right.
and let give Flynn Downs, really let's see what Flynn can do. If he can do that well away at Liverpool, at home to Bournemouth, I mean, he should be absolutely fine. So I'd love to see Moyes do that. I've been tempering myself on the Flynn Downs issue because we hadn't really seen him like in a Premier League game yet. Which is obviously the most difficult games he'll play in will be Premier League games.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
but having seen him now at Anfield and having a game like that,
Same.
I'm sold. I am sold. I think he's the real deal.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. And like I said, what a potential player we have in our hands. And like you said, give Socek a rest. At the bare minimum, it's a kick in the ass to Socek to say, you're not performing. You've lost your spot. Maybe that's enough to get his mojo back, make him want to fight for it. And again, maybe he can find some of the form that he's lost. But
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, I think, he must know that Flynn Downs is breathing down his neck now.
oh yeah, especially after this, and especially after missing that sitter. I
Mm.
mean, David Moyes looked like he was about ready to run on the pitch and strangle Socek for that.
Yeah, he's just not quite sharp enough. Like, that falls to, like, say, Bowen or Skamaka.
Yeah,
They hit that quicker.
yeah, really quickly.
They're aware that they're not going to have much time, that they've got to get that shot off quick. But he's just a bit slow at everything he does. I think Soucek, and that just slight delay just allowed Milner to come in and get the block on it. Now,
Yeah,
granted, it was an excellent challenge from Milner. It was great defending, but
I have to.
that shot has to come off quicker.
Yeah, and I have to just comment on this.
Yeah,
Fabianski,
Fabianski. We'll get to
if
Rice.
you're watching, I don't want to hear shit. Fabianski, that he is not responsible for that goal. He kept us in it. He was incredible tonight.
Yeah, first half he kept us in that game.
Yeah, I mean, even
100%.
the goal that he scored, I can't put any blame on Fabianski for that.
Oh no, that was unsavable.
I mean, and he still nearly got his hand to it.
Benrahma beside Rice will not work.
No,
No, that absolutely not.
put Benrahma.
Maybe he means tonight. Maybe he means just not play Downs tonight. Was it, and put Benrahma on?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, I like the three. We needed against Liverpool. I think we needed the three in there.
Yeah.
But Benrahma should have started ahead of Fornals.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. But yeah, Fabianski was fantastic tonight.
Yeah.
So he kept us in that game in that first half, especially. Made a couple of absolute top class saves. So kudos to him. He was definitely up there as a contender for man of the match. One of our better performers, no doubt. Well, that's the whole team, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
That's mine as well. I mean, you could probably argue. I could probably argue Cresswell and Emerson. But I mean, Cresswell's fine for now. I mean,
To be fair, Cresswell's form is very good.
Yeah, he's been very good lately. So I can't really, as
No,
much
I wouldn't argue with that.
I can't justify dropping Cresswell.
Oh yeah, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting, Neil, that Soucek was crap.
No, he's just. I mean, when the bar is barely above the ground, it's hard not to be above it.
Yeah, look, Soucek is fine defensively. He works hard, and yeah, he puts in a shift. And defensively, he's solid. He does some good work. But I just feel like with Downs, we have a player who can help us defensively and going forward. He's not going to cough the ball up the way Souček does. Souček is just a very awkward, ungainly player going forward and with
Yeah,
the ball at his feet, and he misplaces passes all the time. And
yeah,
I just
like
think Flynn
like
Downs
you
will be
said
a much tidier player on the ball.
yeah, and like you said last show after Sunday's match, I mean, with Souček, if he's scoring goals, I mean, you could easily paper over that because, well, he's producing. But,
Yeah,
I mean,
you'd forgive
that
him.
well
Yeah,
dried up a long time ago now.
yeah, you'd forgive him if he was, getting double figures in goals. So over the course of the season, you'd say, okay, it's worth it for what he does, in the penalty box. But then, like you say, that's gone. That's not happening anymore. But look, I mean, he seems to be David Moyes' love child or something. It just will not get dropped for any reason, and he'll probably start against Bournemouth alongside Rice, and it's
You're
you
probably
feel
right.
bad for Downs,
I mean, we have to start asking at that point. It's just like, why?
Yeah.
What
But I guess yeah, Moyes just fucking loves him, and that's it. Managers have their favorite players, and Souček is one of Moyes, and that's it.
I don't know,
Um,
but you're right.
yeah, but the guy
let me
beside him,
let me ask your opinion on Ben Johnson because I'm hearing like I see mixed results, so or responses and opinions. So I'm curious on what you think of Ben Johnson.
I think he's stagnated. To be honest, I just think defensively he's quite solid. Um, so as a right back, he's solid defensively, but I think the problem we have at the moment, unfortunately, is that the same thing is true of Safal, that is true of Johnson. Defensively, they're solid, but going forward, they just offer nothing. They're
Yeah,
just no good going forward, and I think now that is an area of the pitch now that needs to be sorted out urgently. We
yeah,
need we need a really top quality right back in there who can actually get forward, affect the play in the final third, who's a good crosser of a ball, good passer of a ball. I agree it hasn't helped Ben Johnson between injuries, coming in and out of the team, being moved around different
yeah.
positions.
I mean, he's
And I
played
think
three
that's
positions.
yeah, I think that's why he hasn't progressed as much as he might have.
Neil's not wrong here either, too. That's what's funny.
Yeah, but again, I just think Ben Johnson is not good enough in the final third. And right now, in the modern game, you have to be able to affect the game in the final third as a fullback. He can't
So,
do it. Sofel can't do it. I don't think it's Kerr's best quality either, frankly. Um,
but he's
although
at
he's
least a
better
step
on the
up.
ball. He's better on the ball, Kerr. His
Yeah,
passing is better, definitely. I think he's better than both of them at right back. Um, but I still feel like we need a proper right back in there who can really cross a ball,
yeah.
and who can do a really good job in that final third, dovetailing with Bowen or whatever, and causing problems. We've got to spend money on one.
I was just about to ask, what would you do then? Would you wait and see if give Ben Johnson one of games, see if he can't improve? Would you go out in January and buy the best possible right back you could, or is there some other solution?
I think we have to get this one right. Um, if we're going to go and spend real money on a right back, we've got to get it right.
Yeah,
So I would let Rob Newman do his thing, um, and identify the right player or players for that position that we can go after next summer. Um, in
oh,
the
you wait till the
meantime,
summer.
yeah, I think if we have to, January might be difficult to get the players we want out of their clubs. No, if we can
Fair.
do it in January, the money's there. By all means, do it. I just suspect we might not be able to get the players. We potentially might not be able to get a player we want in January. But if we can do it in January, excellent. Um, but either
Yeah,
way, we
what's
have
also
to
going to
sort
be
that
interesting
position,
is, go ahead.
huh?
Sorry, go ahead.
But in the meantime, I want to see Harrison Ashby.
I
I I think he's a super young player, and he looks really confident going forward as well.
I mean, he can't
Um,
hurt. it really can't hurt. He's proven himself too, so in some decent games. So I want to lean towards agreeing with you that I'd give him a chance. See, because if we have a player in him, that saves us a lot of money that we could end up using elsewhere. The problem
Yeah,
that I think I would end up having though is I like Kara right back. He's like you said, he's not the greatest going forward. But the problem is that eventually we're going to end up running into the situation of having Zuma, Aguerd, and Kerr sitting at center back. Yes, you can rotate him in and out, but I mean, how long before one of them becomes unhappy potentially?
yeah. I mean, in the meantime, yeah, I want to see Kerr as soon as possible back at right back,
No, I
because
agree.
I just don't think Johnson and Sofal are good enough, to be honest. So yeah, I want Kerr in there as quickly as possible. Hopefully, I mean, Oggy must be surely at this point he must be fit enough to start against Bournemouth.
Yeah, I have
He's been
to.
on the bench now for 2 games. He's in training, and Aguerd, by the way, is back on the pitch
Yeah,
with
he's coming back
training
soon.
with the ball.
I think he might be coming back in the next week or two. I think we'll definitely see him again before World Cup.
That would be fantastic. Yeah, if Aguerd, can come into the squad before the World Cup, that would be fantastic. There's a couple of handy runouts, that are potentially there for him in the
Yeah,
Conference League. Where he can, just come on as a sub maybe for 20 minutes in one of them, and maybe get a half in another game, and just start, give him easy games to kind of get back into. Um,
yeah. Because I
so
think,
that
correct me if I'm wrong, but in the Conference League, we've now officially secured moving forward one more point, and I believe we win the group.
yes,
So we have
yeah,
what, 2 matches
yeah.
left or
So we're
3?
already guaranteed to progress from the group. We just need a point to guarantee top place, and of course we have Silkeborg at home in the next game, and
That's a
they're
great
our kind of
match.
rivals for that second spot at the moment. And if we can get just a draw in that game, we're home and hosed, and we will. We're not going to lose at home to Silkeborg. So it might be an opportunity. I don't know how soon Aguirre can get back, but if he's on the grass working with the ball, he's close.
Yeah,
So yeah, it'd be nice to see him maybe get some minutes in both of those games, just to start getting him back in. Um, And then, obviously we can move Kehrer to right back, which I think is what Moyes will do, because I think Moyes
yeah,
has been impressed with Kehrer at right back. It's where he plays for Germany. Kehrer would probably like to go back to right back because he'll be playing there in the World Cup. So he'll want to play
yeah.
some more games
He'll have a lot of
in there.
experience coming back from World Cup.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure we'll see that. But I'd still like to see Harrison Ashby move into second place in that pecking order at right back, and for
Yeah,
him to get some minutes. I'd love to see him get some game time, see if we can persuade him to stay. Um, so we'll see what happens there. I don't know. We don't know what the situation is. Obviously,
yeah.
with
It's gonna be
Harrison Ashby, it's kind of all up in the air at the moment.
yeah. It's definitely going to be interesting moving forward. Um, but I think we've kind of really wrapped up everything we can really talk about from this one. Before we really,
Just one. Well, there's just
yeah,
one thing, and I know this is far from the first time we'll do this, and it certainly won't be the last. But Declan Rice is just an unbelievable footballer.
world class.
Genuinely world class. I mean, in a team at Anfield against Liverpool that lost, he was man of the match. He was the best player on the pitch at Anfield tonight.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just an unbelievable performance from Rice. The guy is just mustard.
he's world class, and it seems like he's getting better with every match. And I don't know how that's physically possible
Yeah,
because
and I'll
he's
tell you
already in the
what,
upper echelons.
there would have been, because you see it on Twitter all the time, some fans of other teams that for some bizarre reason don't see it. And I'll tell you what, there will have been a lot of Liverpool fans who left that game tonight, who walked out of Anfield thinking, you know what? Actually, West Ham fans are right. Rice is fucking different. Is just gravy. He's just an unbelievable player, and I think now a lot of them will have changed their tune I remember seeing it. I think it was last season when we were away at Everton, and I remember an Everton fan tweeting that he didn't get the whole Declan Rice thing. He thought it was just a lot of hype and stuff like that. And he said it's the first time I've actually seen him play in the flesh. And he's like, I get it now. He's
We've been saying
unbelievable.
this about this guy for how long? 5 fucking years at this point, or something
Yeah,
close to it. It's
yeah,
like, when will I don't understand what it'll take for the rest of the Premier League
yeah,
and Premier League fans to realize, holy shit. I mean, West Ham fans know what they're talking about. I mean, they
yeah.
see it.
I mean,
Most of the majority of them are England fans. I mean, he's starting
yeah,
in week in week, or match in match out for England on the national team side. So
yeah,
watching that every week, or like not every week, excuse me, but every match. I don't know how they can say that he's not world class, that he's not upper echelons.
yeah. I mean, like, you run out of superlatives.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just, yeah. I mean, you run out of superlatives for Declan Rice. He's just an incredible player. We're very lucky to have him for however long we have him. We're very lucky to
Yeah,
have him.
that's the big question mark, because I mean, West Ham are in a fortunate position. I mean, we have him under contract for a couple more years, don't we? So I mean, in
Yeah.
reality, I mean, we can demand as much as we want. We can demand 200 million.
Well, I mean, the crunch is going to come next summer, unfortunately. Um,
Yeah.
we're going to have a decision to make next summer. To
Well, I mean,
either
we'll see
to
after the
either
World
sell
Cup.
him next summer. Yeah, he either signs a new contract or we sell him next summer. Other than that, he's going to look, and I think we will lose him next summer. I'll be honest. I think next summer is the time when the teams are going to. He's proven himself beyond any doubt at this point.
Yeah, I
Beyond
mean,
any doubt.
it's either going to be we sell him, like you said. It's going to be we either sell him, or he becomes the highest earning
Yeah,
player at West Ham, and it won't be even close. So it's going to be an interesting saga, especially after the World Cup. If he goes off to Qatar and has just a blinding World Cup, I mean, the price goes up again for him. And I mean, he might even want even more. But I mean, I think West Ham, as much as we give our owners shit, I think that this is one thing that they will fight for, will to try and keep him, or just earth shattering money for him.
yeah. I don't see us keeping him, to be honest. I just don't think that's going to happen.
I'm
But
still holding out hope, just because I'm trying to manifest it, that he says, you know what, I'm down with staying a few more years. That's just what I'm hoping. I'm hoping he follows in the footsteps of Mark Noble and just stay one club. Obviously, I know that's far fetched, but the guy can dream.
yeah, we can dream. But I mean, he showed again tonight um, that he almost even looked too good for Liverpool tonight. You know what I mean? He was that good. It was like he almost looked too good for Liverpool.
Yeah,
It was like just unbelievable player, and I just love that he's a West Ham player, and that we get to have that pride that we have a player like that in our team.
yeah, and we also
That is
know, though, too, that even if he does move, it's going to be under the most respectful of circumstances. He's not going to pull a diva move and say, I'm not
yeah,
ever going to play for you again. I want to be sold. And then even when he's gone, he's going to be the type of player that does nothing but talk up West Ham.
yeah. Oh, his love for West Ham will be forever,
Yeah,
and I think
I
our love
mean,
for him will be forever. But yeah, I just had to say it before we go. Like the Ali McCoist was the co-commentator on game I was watching. I was watching the Amazon Prime, um,
okay.
and Ali McCoist was co-commentator, and like he spent so much of the game just waxing lyrical about Declan Rice, and at the end of the game he gave him man of the match. Just said he's just a special player. Um, and he was the best player on the pitch tonight, no doubt. So, once again, Declan Rice, the best player on the pitch.
See, I don't know. I don't know about this.
No, no, I think
I
that's an
don't.
overreaction.
No,
Listen, Scamacca's Italian. They're all moody.
That's
Di
funny.
Canio was moody as fuck. But he
Yeah.
absolutely adored West Ham. Do you know, like, don't worry about Skamaka. He's just moody. He's fine. He'll score plenty of goals for us this season. Just
This
didn't
is
have a good
why
game.
I hold out hope. Neil hits it perfectly. Very few teams are going to be able to afford him, and if we continue to build around him, I mean, he's going to. Why wouldn't he be interested in staying? Especially if we end up giving him a new contract and he's making north of 150 a week.
God bless you all. Look, I admire your optimism and your desperation to convince yourselves that he'll be a West Ham player
Well,
long term. But
it's true though. I mean, how many players go off to a Chelsea or a Man United and then they just end up riding the bench, even though they have that much money or were
this
worth
is
that.
this is
I know it's
Declan Rice.
Declan, but I mean,
He's not riding anybody's bench. Listen, one of two things. He's not signing a contract. One of two things will happen. We either get big money for him, or we keep him until his contract runs down, and then he walks.
yeah, I, I'll still hold out. I'll always hold out hope until I see Declan holding another team's kit in some promotional video. But well, I mean, it's just going to be one of those things that time will tell. But
you know what? I'm going to say something here, right? And some people are going to say I'm crazy. I know we'll get a lot of money for Declan, and a lot of useful money. I don't think it's as much as some people think, but we'll get a lot of money for him. I think it will be in the 100 million region, right? Maybe a little more, maybe 120 tops. That's a lot of money, useful money that Moyes can use to buy other players. And obviously, our recruitment this summer has been very good. So, yeah, that would be very useful. But I'll tell you what, if I was offered, let's say, 100, 120 million that we would get for Rice next summer and then he's gone, or we keep him and he continues to play for us and runs down his contract and then walks, I would let him run down his contract.
I
think
would
he's
too.
that good a player. I think he's that good a player and he's that important to us that I would let him run down the contract and walk on a free transfer, just so we would have him for those extra seasons.
Yeah. I mean, how
I
old is
would.
he now?
I think that would be more valuable to us over the course of those couple of seasons than the money would be.
I hate the fact that when I Google Declan Rice, I put it in the search bar, and the first option is Declan Rice, Chelsea.
Ugh.
Like, what the hell? I didn't realize that Downs is actually older than him. Or no, they're like a week apart,
No,
actually.
they're very close. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a week apart. Declan turns 24 in January, like a week
Yeah.
before Flynn Downs. So,
Yeah,
I
like I
mean,
was saying to you earlier, he's around the same age as Declan.
yeah, so it would take us into having 25, 26 still in his prime. Yeah. I mean, he can still go make millions somewhere else too if he walks. But yeah.
Plus, it would give you extra time to potentially persuade him to sign a new contract. By
Yeah.
that time, he'll have been at West Ham for so long, and we might have actually built a really good team around him.
And that's what I'm thinking.
That he might not be able to bring himself to walk out.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. If you let him walk, you have the opportunity because as long as he doesn't publicly say, I will not sign another contract at West Ham, you can get some top talent because it's a big will he not.
Yeah.
So
Like if you take the money for him next summer, he's gone and that's it. It's over. Whereas if you don't sell him, if you don't sell him and risk him leaving on a free transfer in a couple of seasons, then maybe things change in that time, and he does decide to sign one. I would take the risk.
Yeah, I agree. I would too. But I mean, listen, I think we've kind of exhausted everything there is to be said. This kind of ran a little longer than I anticipated. That's not a bad thing though. Listen, I don't know if I'll be able to make it for a show next Monday. If not, I'll try and pass it off to someone so that way there will be something.
No problem.
So we will. Tommy and I will have to have discussions on that over the next couple days. But as always, I just want to thank everyone for joining us. As always, I really love doing these. I love being able to host a show with this, talk West Ham. I don't have too many people I can talk West Ham with, so I love being able to do this. Yeah, but until Monday, come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.